Hi.
It's like that Hilary Duff movie.
Speaking of, thank you for saying that. I took Ziggy to the park the other day, and there was a mother there who had her baby who is probably, I'm not good with age, even though I have a child. I'm thinking the baby was probably like a year-ish, give or take. Mm-hmm. Like knee deep in sand. And this mom is like sitting in the sand with the baby blasting the soundtrack from the Hilary Duff movie. What is the Lizzie McGuire movie?
Oh, the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Yes. Blasting it. And I was good for you, girl. Okay, but I didn't realize it was that soundtrack because it was like a different like song no one remembers from it unless you're obviously like a massive fan. And I kept thinking like, why does this sound familiar? But I don't know what it is. Then that came on and I was like, good for you, girl. But I love giving like a little something to a stranger. Like it's one of the things that makes me feel the most alive. But she wasn't, I could tell she was feeling like in her mom bubble, like whatever, but blasting the Hilary Duff. And I was like so happy and like, what a vibe. What an absolute vibe. Claim this energy here at the park.
Yes.
Because you have to. The energy at parks is a lot. And as a mother with a young child, I don't enjoy it most of the time because I'm always going like, what's about to happen? Who's going to get hurt? Is that kid going to hit Ziggy? Is Ziggy trying to be like...
Is there a creepy adult around?
Oh,
I'm always keeping my
100%. Yeah. And he's like obsessed with his little bike right now. So I'm like, that I'm like, I'm going to get a little rope for you, guy. Scott's so much better about it. We went to the Griffith Park one today that we tried to go to with you and Sev. So many people. Scott was like, are you okay? By the way, coolest park for kids, like some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen for them to play on. But I get so overstimulated because I am constantly surveying what's going on.
I would imagine.
In a way that like really gets in the way of me just like vibing. Because I'm constantly, who's that? Why are they doing that? Are they getting too close? What's Ziggy doing? It's wild. Anyway, that's me tangent. Welcome to Script Daddy.
Hi, welcome to Script Daddy.
No, we have to introduce ourselves. This could be someone's first episode.
Oh, that's true.
If you're new here, hi, I'm Carly.
And I'm your host, Colin.
And what do we do here, Colin?
And here at Script Daddy, we read scripts, watch the movies, and discuss the differences between script and screen.
Pow, 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 pow. And if you've been here before, hello, darling. Good to see you, darling.
Hey, Script Babies.
Hey,
we're gonna good today, Script Babies.
We're gonna speak in our sexy Script Daddy voice.
Hey, it's Karen. What's her name? on Coast 101?
Oh, yes.
Karen Bass.
On Coast 101 point something.
Karen Bass love songs on Coast.
This one's been called in from young lovers.
Lonnie to young Veronica. He wants you to know that donut that you choked on is, I don't know. My improv was shut out.
Shut out. To be fair, she never got I feel like it never gets that specific. It's normally just like, Lonnie just wants you to know he's thinking about you. And you're like, oh, Lonnie, wow.
This is the song that first played on your first date.
Yeah. And here it is.
Here we go.
And you're
Happy
like,
anniversary.
Okay.
Really quick, my OCD is like,
Uh-oh.
Gotta make sure this is recording.
Wheat woo.
Yeah.
We'll cut that out.
Okay.
Okay. We haven't seen each other in like 2 weeks.
I know. It feels way longer.
It does feel way longer. It just shows you how accustomed we are to seeing each other so much.
Truly. I went to Georgia for 10 days to visit family.
You did.
Had a bunch of adventures down there.
You had side quests.
I really did.
You really did.
I really did. I ended up on local access radio talking about ghost stories and paranormal things.
Living the actual literal dream?
Yes.
When you told me that, I was like, A, of course, and B, I was so mad I didn't get to hear it.
Yeah.
Because you said it was live, right? Like
it was
it's not
live,
like a...
Yeah. It was fun, though.
Ever heard of a podcast?
No, what's that?
It's a little thing you get to hear later. But you're back now. We're back now.
I'm back.
We're back in the saddle.
Back. Yeah, living life, doing the damn thing. I did have an epiphany last night that the only thing that would make me enjoy this podcast more is something that we can never do. And that is me eating popcorn while we do this, because that would be a listener's nightmare. I talked about this in season 1 as well.
But it hit me again last night. I was like, God, I love doing this so much. God, I wish I could eat popcorn while I was doing this.
I wish I could eat popcorn.
I just like my love for popcorn.
It knows no bounds.
It knows no bounds.
Truly.
I will never say no to popcorn.
And pineapple.
True.
But popcorn more than pineapple?
For sure. Because I would say I'm 90% of the time in the mood for pineapple, but I would say 100% of the time I'm in the mood for popcorn.
Now that we're on the subject of food, that brings me to my question I wanted to ask you today.
What is it?
So when you order like a sandwich or a wrap that comes cut in half, so you know how sometimes when they cut it, it's not actually fully in half most of the time. There's a slightly larger piece and a slightly smaller piece.
Okay.
Which piece do you pick first to eat first and why?
I usually think of my future self and want her to have like a little more. So I usually start with less to see if I'm satiated. Mm-hmm. If not, I used to be real particular about stuff. Like, okay, I have to say that I'm not as much anymore. So I would probably eat the smaller half. And then if I was still hungry, I would have a couple more bites and be like, whatever, and either throw it out like a loser or just be like, you'll deal with like an uneven half eaten second half. But also I have been out of like the rap game. what a ridiculous sentence. But in all honesty, I have been out of the rap game for so many years because gluten-free wraps like barely exist and they kind of, most of them suck.
Yeah, they're a little brittle.
Yeah, and I've just started experimenting with it. So I will say more recently I've been doing some like burritos, but I don't cut them in half. I just
Fair. Well,
guzzle.
It's almost criminal to cut a burrito in
for
half,
real.
Honestly. I sometimes vacillate, but generally I'll pick the bigger half. Because
you could have put a gun to my head and I would have said he's going to say the bigger half.
Because if I'm really full by the end of the bigger half, it's going to be easier for me to just finish the smaller half. Because knowing myself, especially with a wrap, if I save it and think I'm going to eat it later, I absolutely won't because that little tortilla or whatever it's wrapped in gets soggy and it's a sensory nightmare.
That's fair. That's
sensory nightmare. And I just disgusting can't eat it. So then, yeah, it's just easier to finish it off.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some foods really work as leftovers and some really don't.
But you know, with the sub sandwich, sometimes I'll do the smaller bit. That way it can just be over and done delicious. And then I'll be able to enjoy the second half a little bit longer.
Because it doesn't get soggy?
Well, I'm a slut for sub sandwiches.
But it could
like
be soggy
New Jersey
and you wouldn't even
Michael,
care?
Girl.
Scott is obsessed with Jersey Mike's. I've never had it because they don't have any gluten-free bread. But he literally will be like, he'll be like, there's a Jersey Mike's here. And I'm like, that is a ridiculous reaction. But he is here for it.
Michael never fails.
Is that your fave sub shop?
It's the easiest to go to. On the East Coast, I love a Blimpies.
Okay.
Love a Blimpies. Here in the Valley, there's a place called Tony's Deli. Bomb as bomb. Ba-bomb-bomb. All about the bread on it's on La Brea.
Okay.
Divine, delicious.
Really?
They bake the bread every 40 minutes, so every sandwich has fresh baked bread.
Oh.
Divine. Potato Chips Deli. They have 2 locations. Bomb, 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 bomb. Divine. That might be my favorite.
Do any of them have gluten-free bread? Or do I just need to say F it and risk it for the biscuit?
Doesn't Ike's
do any of them do sourdough? Because I don't react to sourdough.
Oh yeah, I think All About the Bread is sourdough.
Then we're gonna go.
But yeah,
and we're gonna live stream it. You're gonna watch us eat. Well, can you imagine what would be worse? Just being like, here, watch us eat. Oh, God.
I sometimes like that. I sometimes it has to be the right creator. But I like watching people eat those pretty little desserts. I hate the TikTok eating, though. The way people take a huge sloppy bite, like, no, absolutely not. Have some decorum, have some class. Yes, it's delicious, but I know why you're taking a comically large bite. It's for fucking rage bait, and everyone sees through it.
And it's working.
And it actually fucking works, so I guess get your bag, but fuck.
Whoa. I have not dipped into eating TikTok yet. I've seen people like review stuff, but I just don't. I don't like watching people eat.
Have you seen the viral Cha desserts?
No.
It's like this cafe dessert place, and they have these incredible looking desserts, and I want them so bad.
Have you ever been? You've been to Just What I Needed, right? But it's like kneaded like bread.
Yeah.
We hadn't been there in forever, and we went this morning with Zig, and I got their chilaquiles, and they changed it. I remember I got it pregnant, and I wasn't as into it, but this one was better. but they have all their pastry because they're not all they're vegan and vegetarian now, so they switched that a little bit. But all their pastries are vegan, and then like half of them are gluten free. And we
crunch wrap them.
Yeah, Scott got some I think he got the sandwich called Yes Chef, and it looked gorgeous. But their pastries, we were literally looking at some we weren't brave enough to truly go there because Scott and I have sensitive little tummies this week, so we were we're just not gonna fully go there. But the woman next to us got a cinnamon looking thing that the frosting on the top was as big as the Cinnabon thing, and I was a previous me would have been I'm in, let's do it. Mm-hmm. Me now is that is a trip to
the toilet.
The toilet. I don't know, but it was literally stunning. And I think the girl thought I was staring at her, but I was literally, I couldn't stop staring at it. And they have homemade Pop-Tarts that were gorgeous.
That's Cinnaholic, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You and Steph took me there a long time ago. Yeah. I know.
The best cinnamon rolls in the world. They just happen to be vegan.
They just
they are divine delicious.
Divine delish, delu, dela. Are we ready?
I am so fucking ready.
Colin and I were
all day.
Our trademark
rat in a cage. We were rats in a cage being experimented on, and it was torturous.
I thought about it when you and I were talking about merch, and I was rat in a cage, really? It's so grotesque sounding, but it really could be some
Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage, honestly. That is something I coined when I was very young, and
trademark.
A little band made a song about it, but that was all me.
That was you. Mm-hmm. You were in the same cafe as them. They took it, and anyway. Yeah. Rats in cages. I will say, Colin and I both somehow did not see this film until now.
I can tell you why. I know why I never saw it.
Why?
Because I knew it would wreck me,
Fair.
And I was never quite ready for it. Because all I knew was that it was about a gay man and you're following him through 3 stages of life. But I just knew, I was this movie's going to fucking wreck me. So I've always felt I wasn't ready, but then I never got around to it. And I'm actually so thankful I didn't because I'm so glad to have experienced for the first time for this.
I realized because I was how sometimes you're no, of course I saw that movie. And then you're wait, I didn't see that movie. This was one of those, but then I realized,
Best Picture, right?
Yes. What I realized though was that Oscar season, I didn't see most of those movies. You know how sometimes
was around that one. What year was it? 2015?
I think it was 2016 is when it came out. Okay. But I just when I was now, of course, I'm forgetting all of them. But when I looked it up, I was oh, that was one of those years where you weirdly didn't see a bunch of the contenders. Yeah. But now I'm mad that I couldn't have experienced this, or that I could have experienced this earlier.
I am kind of pissed I didn't experience it in the theater.
Oh, did we say what it is?
Are
we still talking about it now?
Oh my God, we haven't.
Moonlight. It's
yes,
Moonlight.
We're doing Moonlight.
We're doing Moon freaking light. Oh, fuck yeah. My God.
And this has been on our list since season 1. Yeah. And I think we had flirted with doing it for season 1, but anyway, it's been on the list.
It's been on the list, and
this is the first movie in a while where neither of us have seen or read the script,
which was so
completely fresh experience.
Which I will say was so nice. I forgot how gorgeous it is.
I kind of prefer it in certain ways.
I know because
it's so fun to do the big legacy movies and ones that we love though that we've seen a bunch.
But also, I will say this is kind of my genre out of the two of us. Oh, and I realized the other day, though, I was I always talk about my genre, but I feel I'm not specific in what it is. And I don't think it falls under, I wouldn't say drama.
Specific genre.
It's more
it's a vibe.
Right. I feel my my creme de la creme is relationship driven films where it's personhood and explorations of personhood and character dynamics or relationship dynamics where
exploring the human condition.
That is really when I say my genre, that's what I mean. Cause it's sometimes that's dramatic. Often it leans dramatic, but sometimes it's comedic, but it's that is the stuff I'm literally always the most lit up by. So watching this literally, it I feel it, we've been watching a lot of wonderful things, and I have watched some really gorgeous newer things recently. But that being said, this movie reignited my faith in films, in filmmaking and in storytelling.
This movie ignited so many things.
And I'm I am so looking forward to hearing everything you have to say because I'm it made me feel all these things, but I was oh, Colin must be on a whole other level.
Girl, it's incredible.
It's so good.
Fully character driven in just all the best ways.
It literally showcases the brilliance and the genius of if you know how to tell a story, which holy shit, Barry Jenkins, you know how to tell a story.
Barry Jenkins, like, can I build an altar to you?
Worship. If you do, I will sit right next to you.
I cannot wait to get into the script notes too, because oh my God. I'm blown away. I'm actually in awe.
Like, this movie is all the proof you need that there is. And I feel what I'm struggling with is I kept thinking, like, this isn't a small story. Small is not the word, but it is.
It's actually a quite ambitious story.
It's a very ambitious story, but it doesn't have all what we're so used to now with all. It's contained. And it's the zooming in of personhood that I think so often we've lost sight as like a collective, or at least, like a lot of these bigwigs seem to have forgotten that, like, when you zoom in on any person's life, the stakes are so high, but we forget that because we think it has to come in these other forms where it's like constant fight or flight. You're making and it's like with this, you're like, no, you're navigating these enormous moments in this person's life that, again, if you zoom out, you could be like, oh yeah, but that's just life. But you're like, no, but when you're in it with someone and you're seeing those intimate details, it knocks you out.
Well, that's such a good point because, like you said, the stakes are zoom in close enough to anyone's life, and the stakes are always going to be high when you know the context and history of the person.
Context.
Even if, like, even watching someone, this is going to be involved in one of my notes and stuff, but like even watching someone eat lunch alone has incredible depth and power, and again, very high stakes when you know what has come before that.
Yep.
And like, that's brilliant because anyone's life is like that. Any person.
You could literally close your eyes, point your finger out, go in a circle, and open your eyes and point. And if you zoom in on that person's, and I don't mean that in a way that this isn't an epic story. I mean, this
I know exactly
movie is done so well, and what he's experiencing is so real and so painful and nuanced and all those things. And we only get to know that because Barry adapted it from this play, but like they zoomed in. It's a play.
Oh, because I couldn't figure out. I thought maybe it was a screenplay.
I thought it was a book, but no, it was a play.
Oh God, I want to read the play.
I know. I want to see the freaking play.
Yes.
But like, it was, to me, I just was like, I'm struggling with words.
I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna sound hyperbolic, but it's not. This might, so far, be the best script, in my opinion, that we've read. And I mean, About Time was really incredible. Notebook was really incredible.
But it's incredible.
This is kind of on another level when it comes to the storytelling and everything. We'll get there.
All right, let me get the stats out.
Dear God.
Moonlight 2016, logline, a young African-American man grapples with his identity and sexuality while experiencing the everyday struggles of childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. Stars, hold on. I feel like I need this in front of me. Mahershala Ali, Naomi Harris. I keep doing this like it's a pageant. It's happening again.
It's okay.
God, I get name anxiety now.
Lean into it.
Trevante Rhodes. And I actually didn't get these were the names that came up on IMDb Pro, so I didn't get the names of the younger boys, but I actually am going to look it up while we're doing this because they were so wonderful. The casting of this film.
Everyone in this movie is top fucking notch. Incredible.
Mahershala Ali, in the trivia, they were saying he obviously had worked before this, but this movie like really changed the game for him.
Chiron?
No, Juan.
Oh, he's Juan?
I mean.
Girl.
We're going to get into it. Director Barry Jenkins, writers Barry Jenkins, and he adapted it from a play by Terrell Alvin McCraney. But so on the script, it just says Barry Jenkins, and then it says like
based on.
But then I kept seeing that they co-wrote, so I'm a little confused. Okay. I don't know why the script would say Barry if it was both of them, but nonetheless, at bare minimum, he adapted it from him, and there might have been some co-writing going on. It was a little confusing. I saw some conflicting information. The budget they verified is $1.5 million.
Holy shit! Oh my God!
Yeah. And get this.
I
know.
Didn't know I could love this movie even more.
I know.
Holy fucking shit.
They grossed $65.17 million worldwide. 27 of that was domestic.
Yes,
Quick trivia. It was the first film with an entirely African-American cast and the first with a gay main character to win the top Oscar.
Oh, period.
Yeah. There's only one other trivia, and I love this so much. I could scream. In fact, I might have screamed when I first read it. The scene of Juan teaching Chiron how to swim was originally going to be longer and more dialogue heavy, which we know if you read the script, it is a much more dialogue, much longer scene. But an incoming storm cut back on their shooting time. The darkening clouds ended up giving the sequence far more dramatic heft and turned it into something of a signature scene. Oh my God. When I was watching that, I thought, wow, this scene is way more powerful. And then I just thought, well, maybe that's just because I'm like seeing it. But then I actually loved this movie so much that I watched it a second time.
Oh, I
read it yesterday and then watched the movie at night. And then today I rewatched like 90% of the movie because I like needed to see it again.
Yeah.
Needed to see it again. But I was like, and then I went, because I was also doing the thing on the second watch where I was kind of going back and forth between the script and the script is very similar.
It is very, very similar. There's just, they shorten some of the scenes.
Exactly.
And then the editor reworked some of
100%. But isn't that stunning though? And once again, I was like, man, do you just have to trust?
Yeah.
You just have to trust once you get to a certain point with these things, because the scene is arguably infinitely more impactful than what it would have been if it was shot exactly the way it was in the script. And it was good in the script, but then when you see it in the film, it just hits on a whole... You didn't need all the words. You didn't need all the words. You needed what we saw.
Yeah.
This like milestone, this like moment between them.
Mm-hmm.
And like the trust building and all of that, the joy, all of it.
So sweet.
Oh my God. Okay. What is your script daddy score for the script?
My script score is 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 could be nothing else.
So
literally,
mine is 9.9, and the only reason it's 9.9 and not 10 is because I was so in awe of the script, but the movie was like somehow that much more powerful that I was like, I have to compare it to something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Which is kind of an insane thing to say. But I was literally like, I loved the script, but then the movie like really knocked me out to like 2 and a little bit extra, that I was like, okay, well then I'm going to give the script 9.9 and the movie a fucking 10 out of fucking 10.
Movie's 10 out of 10
Holy shit.
10 out of 10 for me as well. I've noticed when watching this, because I love both of them so much, but I loved the experience of reading the script just a tiny bit more.
Okay.
Like I would say like 10.1 for the script and 10 out of 10 for the movie.
Oh, I was the opposite. 9.9.
I've realized that there's a few times this has happened where the movie is objectively incredible and amazing and the script is really good, but for some reason sometimes I feel like when I'm reading it, it's such a visceral thing. I feel like I'm experiencing it there so much. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think I just am able to put myself in it more for some reason. Yeah. Which, not to sound egotistical, I don't know. But
no, you're just relating to it more.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, it's 0.1 degrees away.
Same.
So like,
well, and same with this for me. It's like the opposite. Like I was like, this script is so phenomenal, but then the movie, I was like, I just feel 0.1 more in the movie than the script. But that doesn't. Just so good.
It's so good.
I literally like didn't shut up to Scott about it. I couldn't stop talking about it. Literally couldn't stop talking about it.
There are so many moments reading the script that, like, I think there was about 6 or 7 times I literally was reading and I went, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
just from this man's action. I wrote a lot.
Get into it.
So I'm gonna read what I wrote right after reading the script. I said, this script is a masterpiece in every way a script can be. From incredible action to emotionally charged dialogue to interesting formatting, I will never be able to give this story enough praise. I was on the edge of my seat reading this, especially the last 20 pages. As a gay man, this is one of the most stunning examples of the struggle, horror, beauty, and joy that comes with being something other than what the default world and the circumstances you're born into expects you to be and forces you to become. I love the way that the writer utilizes grammar and sentence structure to make you feel like you're experiencing the story firsthand and not from the top down. For example, on page 7, the action reads, Little, still sitting in that passenger seat, looks out beyond that windshield. Teresa and Juan talking, gesturing animatedly back at the car. And on page 9, it reads, Juan and Little standing on the porch of this closed apartment, Juan's hand on Little's shoulder. They're waiting. Juan, looking through the curtains there, no telling if anyone's inside or not, is raising his hand to knock once more when... The way the reader indicates that passenger seat beyond that window, this closed apartment, the curtains there, provides an almost conversational yet intimate and raw flow to the storytelling that I can firmly say I've never quite experienced before. Something about it breaks the fourth wall for me and brings me squarely into the story, watching it live and breathe right before my mind's eye. There's also moments when the writer fully doesn't shy away from the fact that you're reading a script for a movie and even emphasizes it, like on page 16 when the action reads, It's movie magic, but they are a good ways out now, 30, 40 yards from shore. This is a script that every writer should read, even if only to experience the pure ecstasy of witnessing the creation of a master of their craft. It is
gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Yes, and what I'm hoping
like,
that we're
have
able,
chills talking about it.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm hoping like through this episode we can find and nail down as many examples as to why like the specific brand of magic that he is doing with this script, because it's very unique. It is different formatting. And again, I think the complexity always comes in where it's like, this is a master. This is a master who's making changes in formatting. This is not someone who said, I think I'm going to write a screenplay tomorrow. And this is what they did. Like I kept feeling like it felt like there was a narrator.
Yeah.
And that he was aware that we're in on it with him, but it never, ever took away from the story. It only added, which is craft and masterful, because so often when we refer to the reader, it can just add some, it's again, obviously this is proof it can be done so well, but it takes work for it to be done well.
Yeah.
And he makes it look easy in this script over and over again. It's so effortless. It is, I was like, this script feels like a long poem. It felt like a poem, but again, like the feeling I had the entire time was like, this is a poem.
And this man is clearly crazy fucking educated too. Cause I mean, girl, anyway, continue.
One of the things I thought was this film is an exquisite example of choosing what to show and what not to show. We don't see and we'll get into that more over and over again, but in a quick rattle off, we don't see him go to jail or his time in jail.
Yeah.
Only what he did that got him arrested, that led to it. We don't know how or why Juan died. We just know that he did. We don't see what led his mother to get sober, only that she's in recovery now. We also don't see what pushes, other than just she's a single mother. We never really get clarity on what pushed her to start, doing it more, whatever. We don't see him begin his drug dealing. We just see him after he's been enmeshed in it. Every single choice was smart and effective. The exposition choices on how to reference what happened between what we were seeing was masterful.
Good.
I literally said to Scott, because again, the main difference between the script and the film is that they just cut some stuff. It's shorter. Yeah. But I literally had the thought specifically on the second watch, nothing in this film was unnecessary. Everything in it was necessary and 100%. moved us, but not in the way where you're like, oh, we're moving. Nope. It all felt so real. And yet what I kept saying to Scott that was messing with me, but in the gorgeous way that makes me just fall in love with screenwriting over and over and over again, is that this movie and this script felt so real. It almost like a documentary reel.
Yeah.
And yet they never let you forget this is a film, both in the script and in the movie. And I thought to myself, and even down to the music, all of it. And the music is referenced in the script, which I love. I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
But
I thought of you and I saw that.
I loved that they kept that from the script, the choices to do the chapters. The fact that this movie, the choice was to have it so relatable, so real, so nitty gritty. And yet we're going to find ways over and over and over again to remind you you're watching a movie.
Yeah. Totally. I love the chapter.
And yet it somehow made you fall in love that much more. It didn't take you out.
It builds into it because each one is named each one is a different name that he goes by, and it shows like the chapters are a progression of his character. Like a different mask that he's wearing in each one.
And the fact that it doesn't just say chapter 1 and 2 and 3, it's the different names he's going by, speaking to the evolution he's experiencing. Hello?
Are you
it's
kidding me?
So good. It's
are you
so
fucking kidding me? Literally, I want to scream.
I was scream. Scream.
Oh, okay. So I'll read you what I wrote after watching the movie now.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what I wrote. I said, this movie, just like the script, is a masterpiece in every way a film can be. So many moments took me back to childhood and high school and being bullied for not being able to hide my effeminate nature. And it brought me to tears just witnessing simple moments such as Chiron eating alone in the cafeteria and being verbally bullied relentlessly. As a gay person, you just want to live your life without everyone pointing out that you aren't the standard model. But this world won't ever let you forget that you're different and will punish you for it. Even more so if you dare to stand in the truth of your personhood openly and with pride. The very act of loving can be an act of defiance, but all it takes is one taste of that true connection with a familiar person, and they become the oasis you return to after being out there in the world in the trenches. Many who don't have the chance to accept this at a younger age grow up to build a layer of hypermasculine armor to hide behind and survive, just like Chiron. But what is so beautiful about this film, this story, is that it shows you that the kernel of softness, that tender center that you've buried so deep is always there, just waiting to be watered by the love you've denied yourself for so long. And once it's water, if you allow it to, you'll bloom. It is that ending. I'm like getting emotional just even fucking thinking about it. Like,
it's so good.
It's like everything.
It's so good.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Agreed. I was like, it's a letterbox. It's in there. It's in my top.
It's like, yeah. 100%. It's, yeah.
What a gorgeous thing you wrote.
There's so many moments. So in the script, there are so many moments that I would read the action and I go, oh my God, because I was in awe of the storytelling. But then watching it translate and become alive on the screen, there were so many moments where just simple little things that took me back to being a closeted kid and someone who's terrified of my dirty little secret being out there when everyone could always tell I was gay. I was always very effeminate and I was bullied for it relentlessly all through middle school, all through high school. And there was those little moments like seeing him eating alone or like seeing the kids bully him and say this shit to him that it would like, I would start like not fully crying, but like my heart would race, tears would well up in my eyes. And it was just like, it was so almost cathartic in a way because I'm so far from that point in my life now. I like accept myself so deeply now and I'm so proud to be gay.
Yeah.
And like that, it's just such a far cry, but to see those moments and to go back and to relive that in a way is so visceral and so overwhelming, but in a really gorgeous way because it does show the contrast of where I came from. But like, it just reminded me of like, I think I told you this, the time in middle school that I like all my friends stopped talking to me because a vicious rumor that I was gay got spread. And back then,
I'm going to need names.
I won't give names because we're on a podcast and people could hear this. But basically what happened was I was walking out of school and these two twin brothers came up and walked next to me and one of them put their arm on my shoulder. And I'm a person, I've never liked unsolicited touch. Don't fucking touch me. Don't put your fucking arm around me unless I want you to. Don't do it. And we were friends and they put their arm around me and I ducked out of it. Like, no, don't fucking touch me. And then this other kid saw it and said, oh, because Colin ducked out of that must mean he's gay. And so then
what is that logic?
Like, exactly. And so he went around telling everyone I was gay and I became this pariah in school. And
did you have any sense of your own sexuality at that point?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was very primordial, but I always kind of knew ever since I was really little and I saw a Bowflex commercial and I was just like enthralled by the muscly like oiled up men on it.
I am.
That's literally my earliest thing.
With that.
But yeah, I always knew I was different because people wouldn't let me fucking forget it.
See, it's interesting hearing you say that because I did think one of the things I really thought was beautiful is a weird word, but the way that they captured the fact that these other kids, and they at least portrayed it like these other kids knew before he did, because that pivotal scene with Juan and Teresa. But again, it's like if you take all the let's just for a second take all the bullshit of hatred and all that stuff out for a second. The fact that you could emanate an energy that young of your true self is actually magic and profound. But because we culturally are so taught to fear other and all this bullshit, it's so upsetting to me that it could ever be turned and looked at that way. Because to me, I'm like, how magical that a person could not even know it yet themselves, and yet other people could know it because they are being true to themselves in their spirit. And that's just what's coming out. Because it's not like they're seeing you make out with someone. You're not even doing that yet. Yeah. And I thought that the way they revealed it in this story, I thought was so interesting that it was like I certainly knew the concept, but until his mom freaks out at Juan and is like, have you going to tell him the way he walks, all that stuff.
You're going to tell him why the kids bully him.
But I was like, I have like chills. I was like, what a heartbreaking but profound way to share, like, this is what's going on, because they don't make it obvious up until that point at all. He's just a sweet little boy. There's a lot of little boys who are sweet and shy that are not gay. They're, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But my point is like, the movie treated it like this thing. And it's like, even though it came out in this ugly moment with the mom, it was like she was sharing like her real, like fear of her fears. And throughout the movie, you see how much she does love him, but it's such a complex, layered relationship. But then Juan, like, hearing that and like feeling all that stuff. And then, I mean, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that scene with him and Teresa at the table where they're talking about, I will not say the word, but the F word.
Oh, yeah.
And, Juan's response took me out. It healed me, and I am not a gay man. Yes. But I was literally like, what a profound, in the script when he responded and was like, it's what someone calls, like, when someone's trying to be mean about you being gay. But I was like,
when they want to make a gay person feel bad.
And then him being like, you can be gay, but you're not that.
But don't ever let someone
call you that. And I was like, truly, like, the gorgeousness of
he says, he's like, well, how do you know? And she's like, oh, you'll just know. But then he goes, but you don't have to know right now, not yet. And like that, it brings a little bit of like comfort to know, like, okay.
And that like, it's coming out of this masculine man who then he finds out a second later is a drug dealer. But here's this man who it would be very easy to think that he would have bias or he would be like, don't be that way. None of it. Not even a second of it.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And that moment with Mahershala, with Juan, after he says, do you sell drugs? He's like, yes.
And he's like, and my mom.
Does my mom take drugs? And he says, yes. And then you stay with him and he's like, starts to cry. Essentially, it looks like.
You see that on the second watch, I was like, no, and he acted it Mahershala, to the T. He is on another planet of good.
On another level.
I mean, because that character was great, but he brought, one of the things I wrote about the movie is I said something special about this film is that it almost puts Julian in our hero position despite everything, in the sense that everything he does for Chiron. Am I saying it right again? Chiron. Why?
Which one was Julian? You mean Juan?
Sorry, Juan. I didn't just have a stroke, but I feel like I did. Juan, I was typing way too fast. Oh, I wonder if it autocorrected.
Probably.
Anyway, Juan. Okay, starting over. Something special about this film is that it puts Juan in our hero position despite everything. Everything he does for Chiron is for his ultimate good and out of compassion. I love that it also showcases what love and acceptance like that can do for someone, even if they weren't alive or in someone's life for a long period of time. It also shows the negative sides of influence in that Chiron follows in his footsteps by selling drugs like Juan did. He sees him as an ultimately pretty good person, but still sold drugs, that it gave him kind of permission to feel like he could do that too. But I thought one of the things that stuck with me about it, and I think the chapters of it kind of helped, was that like for me, I lost my grandparents pretty young, but I was so close with them. I was like 16-ish. They died pretty close to each other. And their influence on me to this day is so profound. And I thought what was cool about what they did with the film was that you almost forget that Juan isn't in the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Because his presence is.
Oh my God, yes.
And I don't think that's captured
true.
Often in film, when you feel the presence of the person who's passed, and not just in grief. Like you feel everything about them.
You see his influence on Chiron in every stage of life.
And
yeah, God, I didn't even realize that. And that is actually wild that he was able to capture that.
Insane. It really stuck with me. And again, I think it's because that's like my in, where I'm like, that's so relatable to me to know that like there's people that can come in, be so profound, pass, and yet you're walking around in life as if they're almost still there. And that's how this movie felt to me. Yeah. It was like, you kept hearing that he died, but you were like, but it feels like he's in the room all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I just thought that was so unique. You don't see that captured often.
No, you really don't. I also love that with the whole drug dealing of it all, they never admonish either of them for selling drugs. It's more this thing of like when you are born into circumstances where there is no other choice.
Yeah.
That people have to refer to that because Juan like regrets and feels bad about it, essentially, you know? And like he always makes sure. I love also in the movie how when we first meet Juan, he's showing up to that like apartment complex and seeing like his kids that, you know, help him sell drugs and stuff like that. And there's an addition in the movie of a small line of dialogue that wasn't in the script that just shows like, so he walks up to the kid and pretty quickly he starts asking him like, how's your mom doing?
Yes.
And that's not in the script. And I thought it was brilliant to indicate like Juan's
one of the people that works for him selling drugs, he says he checks with him, is like, how's business, which is in the script. Yes, I literally made a note of that. And then his next line is, how's your mom? Because he knows that she's sick. And again, it was so smart, tiny addition, but it immediately gave you context for all of this, which is like, okay, you don't have to assume he's good or bad just because he's a drug dealer. But now we can assume like this is a compassionate man who is doing his best to look out for the people in his life. Agreed.
That he would be this person no matter what he does.
No matter what he does.
He's just a good person.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I just thought that was so good. I guess let's get into some notes.
Let's do it.
My first note's on page 2.
Okay.
It says great action. It says
that was your first note and probably your note throughout the entire thing.
Great action. It says 3 young boys, adolescents, 12, 13 years old, with sticks chasing little, similarly aged but smaller, a runt, who is running, terrified. The 3 boys laughing as they give chase, but this is not a game, more like a hunt. Like, are you kidding me? And just there's God.
Yes, God.
Page 3, I said, I love the frenetic energy of this action. It's harried and urgent, and it feels as if you're in the room with him. So this is when, Chiron, or as he's called in this chapter, Little, is running from those kids, and he runs into like a bombed out like crack house. And he hides himself into this like apartment. And this is, so the kids are like banging on the door and trying to get at him. And this is how it's written in the script. It's very, very well done. If you can't tell that I love this. So page 3, it says interior, condemned building, crack house, day, continuous. Quickly, Little closes the door behind him, engages the deadbolt, a beat of listening, the sound of footsteps hurrying up the stairs, rushing to the door and pounding. Madness and pounding, the boys cackling like hyenas as they beat the living hell out of the door. Little shrinking, backing away and covering his ears. The sound of the things cracking under his feet as he moves. The ground is covered with glass and syringes. Small plastic vials roll all over. The pounding stops. Little stares at the door as he hears the boys descending the steps with the same juiced energy. Little's eyes never leaving the door, waiting, anticipating, except bang, a window, the rear bedroom. Doesn't shatter, it's a loud percussive thump. Little creeps around the room. The same crunch of glass beneath his feet creeps into the rear bedroom. More light in here than in the front from that window. Little edges up to it, leaned away to not be seen. Slowly, stealthily, he raises his eyes above the threshold, sees the 3 little badasses who chased him. On cue, thump, a ratty shoe clanging off the window pane. Reflex, little startles, throws himself against the adjacent wall. As he clenches his eyes closed, breath cloistered up to his chest.
So, and that is exactly what's in the film.
Mm-hmm. And it does, one thing I will say is that it's a very, as I mentioned in my initial assessment, the sentence structure is very unique.
It is.
And it does take a second
to get into it.
But then by by page 20 or so, you're used to it and it just flows.
It's
really cool.
It's really cool. It's such an interesting combo of like both like flavor, but also then like straight to the point too. Where like
very economical.
Very, very. And yet there's so much of his voice in it. Like, there's no lack of voice, but there are times where it is very much like beep, bop, boop. Like, it all just works honestly, symbiotically.
The further you get into the story, the more of that poetic nature comes out.
Yes.
You start to see like he uses, I think there was a couple words in there that I don't know what they mean. Yeah. But it's just, it's masterful.
It is.
Where were your first notes?
Well, here's the thing. For a movie that is so much action in compared to dialogue.
There's so much action.
It speaks to the 9.9 because the fact that just shows you how good the action was, because I am typically someone who gets so much more lit up by dialogue than action. But because he did such an interesting, beautiful, masterful job with the action, I found myself just like almost not wanting to take notes, just like sitting and like enjoying that. I didn't have one until page 15. It was both Little and Kevin on their backs looking skyward, chest heaving from the exertion. Oh. Kevin pops tall to his feet, fixing his mottled shirt. Like, hello, that sentence alone. Pops tall to his feet. Kevin, he goes, see, Chiron, I knew you wasn't soft. And then this was the part that I just absolutely loved because it was he goes, Kevin looking back at Little, looking down at him lying there, Little fully returning his gaze. These 14 pages, the first time he's looked at anyone thus.
That's another thing I've never seen in the script.
Ever.
Marking the page number in there as part of the action to give you context, to remind you that this is the first time he's connected with someone.
And again,
it blew me
I hate to say this because I don't want to piss anyone off, but like he did it so well, whereas like I would not recommend doing that.
Agreed.
A lot.
Agreed.
And yet I was like, loved the way he did it because the way he's writing the rest of the film, when you're reading this, you become so confident that you can fully fall into this script and go, I am in masterful hands. Let's go for the ride. Yeah. That these things don't take you out. At all. And again, he's not doing this all the time. He's not every other page going. And now for this, it literally, I went, oh, love that.
Because it doesn't even add to it in this, in the way that like we've talked about with other scripts where it indicates tone on the screen.
Right.
It's just there for the reader and as part of the storytelling process for this. It's so well done.
It's so well done, and also too, one of the challenges is that Chiron does not speak for the majority of the first chapter.
Majority of the movie,
which
is part of his character thing.
100%, but it doesn't give you really almost any room to explore his feelings through dialogue, and so that's even more why sharing it here in this way made sense because you're like, I need context clues. And you're not getting them in the traditional way, which is because the thing with dialogue is someone's either saying what they mean or they're lying. And either way, you're learning something from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can give in a parenthetical, you can say like, you can make it clear this person's probably lying or, or you can make it clear that someone's nervous, whatever it is. But when you almost take dialogue out and yet that is our lead,
Right.
You have to find other ways to let the person invest. And this was one of the genius ways that he did it. And the love story is so almost neutral with peak moments in this.
Yeah.
That again, saying that he is looking at Kevin here is actually monumental to the story.
Yeah, it is.
It would be different than him looking at his mother. Like him looking at Kevin after they wrestle and have this whatever moment means something to the story.
It does.
So
it sets up their whole connection.
I was just like,
and I have that same note, but mine is more centered around what leads up to that point.
Okay.
So this is what it says before. So because yours came in at both Little and Kevin on their backs looking skyward, chests heaving from the exertion. So this is what it says just before that. And it's beautiful. So they were just, so if you haven't seen the movie, Chiron and Kevin were just playing this kind of game of like a ball. They're playing with this big wad of paper ball.
Yeah.
And these other boys are trying to get Chiron to play because Chiron is such like a wallflower. And Kevin comes in and kicks the ball away and kind of saves him, keeps him from having to engage. And so then they're walking home and Kevin says to Chiron, he's like, why do you let these guys bully you all the time? You got to show them that you're hard. You got to show them that, you're not going to put up with this shit. And so he encourages Chiron to wrestle with him, which in the movie, Chiron just goes for it and starts to wrestle, which I also liked that change a lot. But this is what it says in the script when they start to wrestle. Which is, as someone who was formerly a closeted young gay boy, the pertinence of this, of like that primordial sexuality where it's not sexuality yet, but there's something there, like when you're being physical with another boy that you have like a crush on kind of thing. It's just so real. But even when there's so many times you look back and you're like, you don't realize that it was a crush.
Yeah.
Until you have the context of being an adult looking back on it. Anyway, that's a long preamble to this. This is what it says leading up to that. It says, this is when they're on the ground, they're wrestling. It says, this is anthropology and anatomical vignettes. The struggle, anatomical vignettes.
I mean, hello?
Kidding me? Ugh, this is anthropology. Anatomical vignettes. The struggle of these two boys isolated to the simple, incomplete movements of partially glimpsed bodies. These are children. Sexuality is absent these images, and yet the hints of something sensual, fleeting in its appearances. Kevin's cheek wedged close to Little's neck, blades of grass sticking to their skin. The boys on the ground, turning and rolling and laughing, huffing through exhausted breaths. Slowly, their voices going mute, the only sound, the movement of their bodies against each other, against the grass. Physical exhaustion, the boys lie flat, beat. Both Little and Kevin on their backs looking skyward, chest heaving from exertion. Kevin pops tall to his feet, fixing his model shirt. Da-da-da. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I want to throw my computer.
I'm so happy I want to ruin my computer. No, it honestly, and also the film captured that moment so well.
Yes.
And this movie captured things that feel so hard to capture over and over and over again. And
Little,
it's because the script did it so well.
Human interactions, micro interactions that when you place a magnifying glass on it like this, it tells you everything about a person and everything about their state of mind and emotions and stuff. It's insane.
It reminds me of something the other day. I was like, one of the things like I provide with a lot of my clients is like prompts when they're feeling like stuck on a character or whatever. And you and I have talked about this before, but I posted one the other day where I was like, it was before I read the script, but this script like really made me think about it a lot, where I was like, think about someone you love, like one of their quirks, like one of their little, like whatever.
Love that.
And okay, picture them doing it right now. Like, where are you? What are they wearing? Are they mad? Are they happy? Are they whatever? Write it in a scene. And then, write just whatever. Don't question it. Just write it in a scene. And then once you have that scene, depending on where you're at, what you're working on, see if there's a way that you can organically and authentically put that into your story. Not because it's going to stay even, but because more often than not, when you capture little idiosyncrasies and little human moments that we take for granted all the time, when you take the time to think about those things, so many of your favorite scripts have those moments, and those are the moments that you love, are just these little weird human moments that, again, we take for granted, but this movie is rife with them. It is so many little micro moments that have so much importance when they're put in context.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's such a great exercise. I'm actually going to do that.
Do it and report back. But I literally, because it just like hit me out of nowhere. And that's typically how prompts do. But I was like, because I don't think people always think that way about like, oh, like, let me think about the people in my life, myself. What are the things? And then go put it somewhere. It might not work, and then who cares? But like, if it does work, you might be creating a moment that really hits for people, because it is it's not always the big crazy thing. It's so often the tiny little thing, the little seed.
It is, and it sticks with you. And I'm always impressed when I see it in a script where I'm like, oh my God, I see people do that type thing all the time. But when I'm sitting to actually write, very rarely do those things come up into my consciousness, but you got to work that muscle out to, like you were saying, like think about things and like, you know, get used to writing those in there.
100%.
Putting them in, because they are really some of my favorite moments.
And this movie just had so many of them.
It really does. One really cool formatting choice. There's a lot of cool formatting in here.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really sticks out that is throughout the entire script, but I first appears on page 4, is he does this thing with dialogue where he stacks the dialogue, where instead of like a sentence being all in a line, I'll read you the example. They're stacked on top of each other. So what you're about to hear is a line from Juan, and it's 3 short sentences. It's one and 2 word sentences, but they're all stacked on top of each other, not in a horizontal line. And it's really cool because it indicates a cadence, a way of speaking. It indicates intonation. And this, I say this all the time, like, oh, I've never seen this in a script before. This truly,
never
fucking seen it in a script before. Probably won't, because this seems like maybe this is what Barry Jenkins does, how he writes. It's just fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's just fucking cool. So it says, Juan raising his hands, and the lines are, all right, it's cool, we cool. But they're all on top of each other, and it's just...
It is fireworks.
It's fireworks, script babies.
Oh, so if you hear, it's a party over here.
It's a party. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. My next one is page 10. I thought this was super beautiful. It says, Paula looking past her son, past this man, thoughts drifting off. From the looks of her, just a hardworking single mother in over her head. Juan's gaze lingering over her, clearly seeing the same, and yet just a bit more. My God, I think that's when he first takes Chiron back after they swim or something. Page 11.
Or no. If you're saying page 10, that's when he takes him.
When he takes him home after he found him in the crack house.
Yeah,
right. And he sees the mom, and he can tell that there's just something slightly askew with her and her behavior.
Well, and she's being. I think he's not, like, the way I interpreted it was that he was not looking for praise, because when she's like, who are you? He's like, nobody. Like, he's not.
Right, yeah.
But then when she's like, so, like, he goes to like pound it, and she like pushes him behind, I think it's like the whole thing. Like, he's not expecting her to be almost off put by him versus like, you know, whatever. It's
you know what's interesting is that, and this is all just my own speculation, obviously, but like now talking about it, I feel like the reason that the mom does that is because this guy bringing her kid home when she didn't even fucking know that he was out, gone all night, that just highlights again for her, like, I'm not a great mom.
Yeah.
And she's ashamed by that. And so
doing this, for sure. Yeah, oh, for sure. And you know what? I will say one of my notes was like, I loved that they actually gave the mom more arc than we're used to with a movie where like she is a lead, but she's kind of like a supporting lead. Yeah. But like, we don't typically get to see the arc that we got to see with her. Her changes are pretty immense. I mean, in the sense of I feel like that first scene, I did not pick up on drugs at all. I just picked up on a mother overcompensating for feeling like shit. Like, you're catching the fact that I didn't know. And now, like, he said he was going to be all that stuff, like more embarrassment and shame and whatever.
Totally.
that then when you see her next and she's acting weird and she's with the guy and then she grabs the stuff, you're like, oh,
this is why Chiron doesn't want to go home.
Yes. But that it feels like a newer development of something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
It feels new.
Does. It feels like it may have been intrduced by that guy.
Yes, because you see a confusion on Chiron,
Little's phone,
on Little's phone,
yeah.
that again, the brilliance of you don't know. That's why the reveal of her lighting up with the guy is so like, oh shit, because you're like, that's the last person you want to see in the car.
Yeah.
That's the last person Juan wants to see in the car.
The last thing he wants to see her doing. Smoking crack.
But the way, and again, though, the complexity in her performance, it was so good.
Oh.
But her being like, you're going to raise my son? Like you're the one
you're
giving
gonna sell me rocks
Yeah.
and you're going to raise my son? Okay. And that kind of context, that her inflection placed upon that dialogue, I didn't fully pick up on that on the page.
No, agreed.
Where she says, so you're still going to sell me these rocks?
Yeah.
You're gonna,
no,
the
her
way
performance.
She performed it, I was like, oh shit, I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you going to say this to me when you're fucking selling me the drugs that you're so upset with me doing?
And you're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the pain in Juan's eyes when she says that is, girl.
Well, and again, the brilliance of what to show and when to show and what not to show is the fact that we see that. Oh, okay. I have a question for you. So we see that, then she goes home and we have that heartbreakingly beautiful shot of Little staring at his mom and the artistic choice to have it be like, you can't hear what she's saying, but she's screaming at him and the anger in her eyes because she's so full of shame. She's so angry.
Yeah.
We don't know what she says. Okay. I did not. And then now though, the second time I watched it, I was like, wait, maybe I'm making that up now. So when I read it to me had nothing to do with him then going to Juan and saying, what is a...
Oh, really?
I didn't get that in the script at all. In the film, it felt so obvious that that's what it was. But then what's strange is in the film, when they go back to that moment, she's saying, don't look at me, that they still chose to not have you hear her say it, but they're indicating it. And again, this movie is so brilliantly allows the viewer to be smart.
Yeah.
That we are not being spoon-fed anything. That again, it did take the movie for me to go, oh, his mother said that to him in that moment.
Yeah.
But even when we flash back to it, we're not hearing her say it. She's saying, don't look at me.
Yeah. For a moment when it was silent, I almost thought she said, you're a little faggot.
Okay.
But then when you hear her say, don't look at me, I realized that wasn't it. But so when I read it on the page, this is how it's introduced on the page.
Yes, please.
It's on page 28, and it says, interior, Paula's apartment night. Paula and Little facing one another, Little standing at his mother's feet. We've caught them in the middle of something, just after something. No words spoken, but Little's face, he's lost. And so that's all the context that you get. And I was like, so at first I was like, oh shit, are we getting into sexual abuse?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? And then when it's like either the next scene or there's one scene in between where he's sitting there at the table and he asks Juan, what's a faggot? When I read that, I knew what we had just seen was she had just called him that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. Like that is so
I didn't get it until the movie.
Deep and like fucking cutting and just
real. What the movie doubled down on for me in that moment, because again, like I said, I admittedly did not pick up on that reading it, but the double whammy of that is Juan is sitting there knowing his mother went home and said that because he saw her the night before and they had this interaction.
Yes.
And arguably it brought up all this shit for her that pushed her to say some fucked up stuff.
Exactly.
That it was like, and then to end that scene with, do you sell drugs? And my mama does drugs was so heartbreaking because Juan is sitting there with all of like, our interaction absolutely contributed to this.
Yeah. The shame of all of it, of the selling drugs, of feeling like he had, made this kid's life worse somehow by trying to protect him. It's so layered.
And you don't see Juan again.
You don't.
Which is also heartbreaking.
It is. Cause like you see in the next chapter, then it's like you see Chiron now, not called Little anymore. He's now Chiron, sitting with Teresa, who is Juan's wife, played by Janelle Monáe, fucking ate that role. And I was reading it and like, I was like, when's Juan going to enter? Juan better enter. But then I was like, I just knew, I was like, he's dead, isn't he?
And they don't make a meal out of it too either.
It's very sweet how they reveal it too with the bed.
Yep.
When they're making the bed.
And she's like, you and Juan thick as thieves. And then it's like, but in the script, she says like, you miss him, don't you? Or something like that. But they completely took that out. There's just this heavy moment where you see Chiron's face where you're like, oh, she's like, oh. And they kind of have this thing. Yeah. And then like a scene later when he sees his mom. And by the way they shot, again, I did not. The way they shot
her strung out when she's there. That
is, I went back and read it. That is not on the page like that.
It's not.
She's breathing heavy, but that is it. Girl. And seeing her, that's what I mean, is like seeing her.
And the extreme close-up.
The extreme close-up.
Like, the way the camera moves is kind of with her movements in a way. And it's
so heartbreaking. Her spiral on the page is hard, but her spiral on the screen, and again, like, as I'm a mom, so that adds to it. But it was like seeing her like kind of frantic like thing. And then when she like mentions, she kind of delivers in her brilliant performance. She's like, I haven't seen Teresa since the funeral. And you're like, it's that reiteration where no one until then has said he has died.
And we don't even say whose funeral it is, but obviously
we know because she's talking about Teresa. And then the bully also brings it up later. But again, no meal is made. It's brought up in the way it would be brought up in real life, which is him and Teresa have a closeness, but there's still a communication thing that Chiron is not doing where that I think that's probably why they took out her being like, you miss him, whatever, because it's like he doesn't have the capacity. He's not exercising communication like that. And she knows that about him.
She's not going to push it.
That she's not going to push it. Yeah. But then that we would find out through his mom being strung out and being like, oh, I haven't seen her since the funeral. Like that is how in real life a person would share that information.
Absolutely.
Whereas so often in movies, we feel this pressure of
over-explain.
How do we over-explain? How do we whatever? Whereas like this movie under-explains and yet it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's such an example of flirt with what you can get away with not saying.
It forces you to lock into the story, and it also makes you a participant in the story because leaving out some of the history and the context of what got us here, you're not lost, but then it makes you wonder, like, because I was thinking like, oh shit, what happened to Juan? Like, did he get shot? Did something go wrong? Like it makes you, since it's so open-ended, it almost engages your emotions even more because you're like, you're unsatisfied, even though you're completely satisfied because you're so engaged. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And
it just makes you, it forces you to be like, to infer what could have happened. And that's genius.
It's genius. So and also though, think about it, like the choice to not have you sit at the funeral.
Yeah, girl.
Because by the way, you would have gotten some real emotions pulled as a viewer and a reader if you had him sitting there in a church at a funeral. But he chose not to do that.
And you know what's kind of cool too with that is that A, we don't need it because this isn't Juan's story.
Absolutely.
B, someone like Chiron would have buried that deep, pushed it down, and tried to make himself forget it anyway. So not seeing it and not knowing what it was almost puts you in his position as well. Because it's like, no, don't want to think about that because you see all these gorgeous, sweet things that this man does for this boy, and then he's just gone.
Yeah.
It's so fucking real. And you also know without having to say it, what a profound impact that had on him.
Yep.
Because of what is not in his life anymore and what he has to go home to. It's so well done.
And yet how grateful you are that Teresa is still in his life.
Yes.
And while his mom
Thank God for Teresa.
Thank God for Teresa. And again, we don't have to show 10 scenes.
Yeah.
We show one scene that indicates they're still in each other's lives. She's letting him know you're always welcome here. And then the mother, before she spirals out in an angry way at first, is like, I know you saw Teresa, like, and she's not mad yet. She's kind of like, I know you saw Teresa. Like, how's Teresa?
Which means she gave you money because.
But that's like once they're in in the apartment. When he first comes back, she is hiding it way more. It's more like, yeah, I know you saw how's Teresa last time. Like she's like, last time we saw her was at the funeral. And then it's like when she gets frantic in the apartment, then it's like completely switches where I'm your mama. She's not. That's your all that shit. Give me the money. All of it.
So when I read it and when I watched it, when she is saying, "Oh, mama locked herself out. You gotta let me in," and then she rushes in and we said the door wasn't locked. She's searching through everything. I think she owes someone money or she got in some fight with some trick or something.
Okay.
And she thinks in her mind someone's in there waiting to attack her or something. And she wanted Chiron to go in first.
You know, that I was going to ask you because I was like, that is the one moment in the film that despite having read it and watched it twice, I couldn't figure out what it was meant to be.
Because then, but then I wasn't so sure about that because then she's like
so fearless when she's in
like,
the house.
I need money. Mommy needs money. Give me some money. And
Mommy
so I was like,
good,
so I was like, oh, she owes someone. But then she says, just give me some to get me through the shakes. That doesn't make it to the movie. But in the script,
she just says, I don't feel.
Yeah.
She says, I don't feel good.
Yeah. In the script, she fully says like, I need this. Because she's coming down from drugs and having withdrawals.
Right.
But I do think that the subtext there is that she's scared that someone's in there.
Yeah.
It could be paranoia or it could be something real.
Yeah.
But again, I also love the choice not to tell us.
100%.
Because with also it plays into the reality of like when you know someone who's that strung out and they're freaking out, you're never going to know the context because they're not going to tell you the truth. They're always fucking scamming, trying to get their next hit. And, I forgot what the rest of that sentence was going to be, but yeah, it just plays into Chiron's experience.
100%, because also his reaction when I watched it the second time was even more where he is so unsettled watching his mom.
It's
like
so sad.
It's so heartbreaking that it's
actor,
like, oh my God.
So it was
good.
incredible. Wait. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure his name is Ashton and I've met him before and he's a super sweet guy. Yes, I have met him way back when.
He's
right
fantastic.
after this movie came out, he was such a sweet guy. Such a sweet guy.
So
and
good.
like absolutely fucking stunning in person.
I mean,
stunning.
Yeah.
There was something on page 20 that I liked because it just backpedaling a little bit. But this is when Little comes back home and we first see the indication that something's off with his mom. When I first read this in the script, I thought it was that she's drunk, but then realized it's for other drugs. So I said, what a gorgeous way to say someone is drunk. And this is what it says. It says, a beat, then Paula's at the door, a bit drowsy, disheveled in a way different than the work-weary version glimpsed before. A moment of Juan taking in Paula. None of them utter a word for a moment, just the distinct sound of a can opening from inside the apartment, all of them noting it. Like the context, like something's off here.
Yeah.
She's disheveled in a way that's not from work. Like, oh, you're fucked up. And then not like you hear the can popping. So then you know some guy's in there and then you're worried because you don't know what fucking Little's about to walk into. Like that is brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Instead of indicating that he sees someone's leg or someone sitting in a chair or something, it's just like a can opening. And because it tells you, oh God, more substance is being used. Yep. Someone's getting drunk in there. When
he makes his own little bath.
Oh, girl. I just want to.
What did you think about the choice of one of the other small changes when he has the scene with Kevin on the beach? The scene.
Yes.
How in the script, or sorry, in the movie, Little is coming off. Or I guess he's not little anymore. Chiron is coming off like he doesn't smoke. But then Kevin hands him the blunt and he like knows how to smoke. And then Kevin starts laughing and he's like, damn, like I didn't know you could smoke like that. And he's like, well, my mom leaves all kinds of stuff around. Mm-hmm. And I thought, and then you see the look on Kevin's face. And I was like, I feel like that was why they added that addition is it was like, once again, a quiet way of letting Kevin know Chiron's situation
and that Chiron keeps secrets.
Ooh, okay, yes.
And that, so it's, I think, multi-layered. One, Chiron has a mother who is an addict and he doesn't want people to think that's what he does. So of course he's going to hide that that he smokes weed. Two, Chiron is self-medicating because he's living in such a tumultuous environment. And three, Chiron keeps secrets from people. and will lie directly to your face because all he knows is lying.
That's a
because
read.
He's in the closet, so his whole existence is a lie.
And do you also feel like too, maybe this is me reading into it too much, because at first in the script it more so reads like he doesn't want to smoke because he doesn't smoke.
Yeah.
So he's like
it
more a
does read
fear
more
of a thing.
like that on the page.
Whereas in the film, it made me go, okay, so if he is someone who does smoke, his initial hesitation has more to do with the fact that he's afraid of what he might think or feel around Kevin if he smokes with him.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, you absolutely, without us knowing, you absolutely nailed, I think, the addition of that. And because the only thought I had was like, oh, I feel like now that we know he does smoke, his hesitation doesn't make sense unless he's afraid of how he would act.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
But also that scene and there's not much intimacy in this movie at all in a physical form. There's definitely intimacy in other ways. But I loved the way they chose to show the physical acts in these artistic ways where it's like his hand.
Oh, his hand gripping the sand.
Because
he's getting a hand job.
Absolutely.
But like you never see it. It's very tasteful.
It's very tasteful.
And it's also, it's not sexy. It's not, it's sensual, but it's not sexy and it's not egregious because you're seeing him have his identity validated for the first time from someone he would never expect it from.
Yep.
And it's kind of this like, it's a surprise for us just as much as it's a surprise for him.
Oh my God. When Kevin.
Like, he's like, this is what life can be. And this is like the person that I've loved since I was a child is doing this to me. Like, what? And then the fact that when we pull away from that, Kevin isn't like, oh, fuck you, faggot, don't tell anyone kind of thing, which we've seen in other movies of that. He's saying like, oh, this is kind of like a first for you. Like, well, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Cause he's like came fast or whatever. And he's like, it's okay. You have nothing to apologize for. And that is Kevin saying, you don't have to apologize about being gay.
Okay.
Like, girl,
Kevin, despite the fact that I was so upset when Kevin is hitting him,
I know,
and you understand why. Totally.
Yeah.
That being said, we're just going to omit that one part about Kevin for a second. I fucking love Kevin.
Love Kevin.
His character and those actors again,
and the casting, excuse me,
I know. Kevin was fantastic on the page, but I gotta give it to those actors because I thought the actor that played Kevin in that scene in the middle, really found this gorgeous space where he gave off no gendered sexuality. He just was a person who seemed very okay in their self, because we see him earlier talking about how he's fucking this girl at school, and he doesn't come off like he's lying at all. He's genuinely coming off like I almost got I almost got expelled, but I'm just getting detention. Like that seems real for him. And then this scene happens and he's not panicking. He's not grossed out. Mm-hmm. He's like, why are you sorry? Like, he whatever.
Accepts who he is and his proclivities.
I was like, what a and I think that is why the betrayal is so much stronger then.
Yes.
Because you have Chiron being like, we did this thing. This is the only time I've done this. You were so cool about it. And now you're going to beat me up. And that's why he keeps getting up. That's why he keeps getting up. Like, that it was like,
in the movie, it was powerful on the page, but in the movie, the way it's executed and the way he's saying, just stay down. Like, Chiron, don't get up. But then you see Chiron where I'm like, fuck yeah, Chiron. Like, fuck you. Like, no, he's like, fucking do it again. Fucking hit me. Like, I'm not going to back down. And because he's so betrayed in that moment, he's like, the only thing he can do is, it's almost like a fuck you to Kevin to be like, how fucking dare you? Oh, you want to fucking hit me now? Then fucking hit me. God, it's so good.
It's probably had nothing to do with that, but it reminded me of Cool Hand Luke, a Paul Newman movie, where it's such a good movie, but he's in jail and there's like, he ends up getting in a fight with this guy and the guy just keeps beating the shit out of him. And literally it's almost verbatim where they're like, the guy doesn't want to keep doing it. And he's like, just stay down. And he will not. And that scene in Cool Hand Luke goes on
uncomfortably long, like way longer than the scene in this film, in a way that I remember being like, I want to vomit. Like I found it myself being like, stay down, like you're literally gonna die. But again, different, but it made me think of that because it was bizarrely different, again, context different, but a very similar situation where these two characters had this other stuff going on, and one was just doing what they felt like they had to do. And the other was like, I'm not going to let it be that easy for you. I'm going to keep getting up. Yeah. So every time you hit me, you need to be cognizant of what you're choosing. You know what I mean? Like,
and also the fact that possibly Chiron feels like maybe he deserves it. This is what happens when you act on these impulses.
Yeah.
You know, like, because everything in this movie, every high is met with an equally low, almost lower. It's like boom, boom. But going back to the beach scene.
Yeah.
My note on page 51 is where that scene is. And you had talked about how so often there's chunks left out. There's chunks of context left out. And then he builds in the history of what happened in the action. And it's all like, you know, it's all just kind of in passing as well. You kind of get used to it. And it just plays into the storytelling of it all. But this is how, so we see them smoke and then we cut back to them later when they're high. And I loved this. So I wrote, I love the way that the writer built in a sense of history by entering a scene just after something happened. Here's a great example of it when Chiron and Kevin first smoke weed on the beach. We come back to them later. And it says, Chiron and Kevin laughing their asses off, both high as hell. A joke or memory lost in the cut. Whatever it was, extremely funny. So funny that as the two stop laughing, those gleeful smiles remain. The two of them looking alternately from each other to the ocean and back, allowing themselves this bit of shared pleasure. I love that. Even just like a joke and just indicating that, yeah, we don't know what it was. It was funny, but we don't need to know. Like this is about their connection, not about what was said. And girl. Period.
Also, the use of music in this movie reminded me of the chapters and the reminding you this is a movie.
Yeah.
For instance, one of my favorite examples was when we first see Little, like, so they're at that age, we're in the first chapter when all the boys are roughhousing, Mozart's playing.
Oh yeah.
And it's like not what you would expect, and yet it's absolutely
that shot of
stunning.
The boys like standing around.
And they're roughhousing, and all of a sudden I had captions on because I'm an old woman, and it was like Mozart, and I was like, yes, that is not the music that your brain would immediately go to, and yet it was divine. Like it was like it was so, and they did that a lot. They made music choices that were not always what you would expect. It was slightly different tonally, but it added so much. And but to me, in a way that kept reminding me, this is a film. Mm-hmm. But again, only heightened the feelings I had about the film.
It's fucking incredible everywhere you look at it.
And the choice to like mute things, like like how you don't.
Just going to ask you that, like, because there's a few moments where the dialogue you hear almost as a voiceover, and we stay with the characters staring at each other. You don't see their mouths move. There's two that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's something that it's such an interesting choice, especially at the end at the diner, where they're looking at each other and then Kevin says something, but then it's like, it's brilliant because the moment is about them and how they're feeling with each other, not about the dialogue.
And how gorgeous to be so confident in your storytelling that you're like, oh, I don't need the dialogue to be heard here. Like when the counselor's talking to him after he gets beat up, Chiron, in the script, you have all of her dialogue. In the film, you stop hearing her very quickly when she comes, and it's that shot of him just staring into space, and she's going on and on.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And
that again, you didn't need to hear what you knew what she was saying.
Exactly.
So you didn't need to hear it. You just needed to see his face and going like, she doesn't get it. And she's
exactly. He's like another person who like, this isn't going to go anywhere. You can't help me. You don't know what's going on. No one can fucking help me. My next one was on 65. I said, an incredible example of building in history through action. Not only does this indicate so this is another thing of we don't see exactly what happened in between the chapters, but we build in where Chiron moved to and who he's had to become in his adult life to protect himself. So in the movie, the ending of the adolescent chapter ends with Kevin, another kid at school, Terrell, I think his name is, encourages Kevin to play this game that they used to play in middle school where one person says, go hit that person. And then you have to go, deck them. And if the person stays down, you win or whatever. But if they get back up, you hit them again. That's what we just talked about, obviously. And so then Chiron's obviously so betrayed by this. And you see him go home. He ices his face. And then we cut to him the next day at school. And he walks into school like on a mission. He gets into the classroom. He picks up a chair and he fucking smashes it over the bully's head. Not Kevin's head, but Terrell, the kid who encouraged Kevin, who's been his bully the most. And so then we cut from that. And we see Chiron being put into a cop car. And then this is where we go to right after that. It's the next chapter. It's the third chapter, which is titled Black. But this is what it says. It says interior, exterior, Chevy Impala day, moving. Hot today, hot as hell out today, as Black sweats through the baggy jeans and oversized white tee. What's more, unlike the pensive Black glimpsed, recovering from a fevered dream, this one menaces through a full array of gold-fronted teeth. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, I'm reading that wrong. It says, what's more, unlike the pensive Black, glimpsed recovering from a fevered dream, this one menaces through a full array of gold front teeth. They're impossible to miss as the city passes by outside the window, cruising through the flats. As the car continues along, we go close on Black's license plate. The vanity spelling Black is interesting, but it is issued to the state of Georgia is more important. So Black is the nickname that Kevin came up for him. And there was actually a moment where there was a change that this wasn't in the script, but in the movie in the whole second chapter, which is the adolescence chapter, Kevin is calling him Black. And there's a moment where Chiron says, what kind of dude goes around calling other dudes nicknames? And I thought that was so potent because he's like, why do you call me Black? Like, what kind of dude goes around and does that? I thought that was really potent because it's another indication of like this gay guys do that. Don't do that. I'm not gay. I can't be gay. Don't do that.
Yep.
And I thought that was just gorge.
I know.
Grill.
Agreed. I also clocked that and I was like, ooh, I love that.
Mm-hmm. The scene with his mom when Chiron so his mom, when we go to the third chapter, is now sober and living in like a sober facility. Mm-hmm. She's clearly, they indicate the dialogue that she's been sober for some time now. She's good. She's stable with it, but she chooses to stay there so she can help other people through their addiction. And it's a great scene on the page, but dear God, in the movie, Chiron is more emotional in it than he comes off on the page. And it's great because you see this facade that he's built for himself of this like gangster on the streets with his gold grill and his car. And they even indicate it in the way he drives around in his car. He kind of like leans into it to kind of like look more badass and to show his status on the streets.
Yep.
But the juxtaposition of that when he's with his mother and you see all that pain that he's had with her. And then, but she's apologizing to him and being like, love me. And then he starts to cry. And it's just like,
but
that soft boy, that little boy is still there. He's just had to build this facade around him to try and be like, don't fuck with me because I'll fuck you before you can hurt me.
And I also just felt like there were two things I loved about that scene. One, it really was refreshing to see like arc like that. I just feel like a lot of times characters like that are like a supporting lead don't always, especially in a movie like this where so much is not shown. They could have very easily not resolved anything with her.
True.
But I liked that they did, but more so I liked that there was like a human moment where he does get up to leave and she's like, we're not leaving it like that. And that despite everything, he has every reason to keep walking, whatever. He still loves his mom and he sits down and we get to hear her say, I fucked up as much as a person can fuck up. Yeah. And again, it's like when someone goes through that stuff, like they're at a point where that either matters to them or it doesn't, but it's still nice. It's like for him, it feels nice to witness his mother having recovered, wanting to stay in a situation that will keep her in her recovery, but also her looking at him being like, I'm not going to let you leave on this term, but, and you don't have to tell me you love me, but you're going to leave knowing I love you. Like, whew, like I thought it was such a beautiful, profound choice that I feel like a lot of movies are like, that are really like hard and emotional and intense and heavy, like don't always give us those little micro moments of peace and healing. And sometimes that's because they don't happen and they don't exist. But there was something about the way that it was done that felt so organic to this story and so authentic, because they always rode this line with the mom where it was like, no matter how much she was acting up and fucking up, you did still have a sense of the fact that this woman really loved her child, but she was in deep, deep, deep struggle and making really bad choices. So there was something really, that healing then, and then like the next thing you see is he's driving to go see Kevin, that you're like, it felt like it was part of this unlocking and accepting of I can move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's also, they made a choice in the movie too, that's not in the script where, so she apologizes. He gets up to go. She's like, no, we can't end like this. He sits down. She's like, I know I fucked up, but you're going to know that I love you.
Yep.
And it's essentially kind of like, I don't care if you still love me. You don't. She says to him, you don't love your mom anymore. Like you don't love me anymore, but I love you, and you're going to know that.
Yep.
And this isn't in the script, but in the movie, he offers her an olive branch so she's struggling to light a cigarette, and he just takes a cigarette from her, puts it in his mouth, lights it for him, gives it back to her. She takes a drag, and then he places his hand on the side of her face, and it is so fucking beautiful and so powerful.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's Chiron allowing himself to open up to tenderness again.
Yep.
And because in that moment he's seeing, well, maybe there can be redemption there. Maybe things can be that bad and there can still be something on the other side, because he's convinced himself, I have to I just had to place myself in this hole and just get through it and be the scary motherfucker that no one wants to fuck with. That way because I was fucked with my whole life. But that doesn't have to be the way. And in that scene in the script where he's sitting with his mom, there's a line of dialogue. There's a line of action that I loved. So Paula asks him how someone is. She's like, how's so-and-so? I think Teresa. Like, how's Teresa? And he says, good. And then this is what it says. It says, Paula mimics Black's shrug. Good. And it says, face curling into a beautiful teasing smile. Hard not to love this woman. Hard not to give her infinite second chances.
Barry, you are such a thoughtful writer. It's insane.
Barry. My next note is on page 74. And this is just because this is pure, gorgeous writing that is stunning, incredible. So this is what it says. So Kevin this might be when they're on the phone together. Anyway, Kevin, when they're adults now, is a cook at a diner. And this is how he describes the diner. It says, out beyond the staging station, Kevin's leaning to an old school register, tan-colored tabletops, and matching vintage booths. This is one of those relics that will always be part of Miami. When the tide finally sweeps the city into the Atlantic, the last note rising from it will be Campe Segundos, Chan Chan, reverberating from this place. I mean, like, has no bearing on the movie, or you can never show that.
Nope.
But are you fucking kidding me, Barry? Like, you're just gonna drop that there? Okay, fine. Like, shit.
Yeah.
And I would say lube me up first, but you did with this whole fucking movie up until that point.
Did you notice that the song is different?
It is, yeah.
But the vulnerability hits.
Oh, wait, in the
Isn't
ultimate
it
song
different?
at the end?
Isn't it different?
No.
No, it's not?
It's the same, no. Because I was reading along with the lyrics.
But the vulnerability, then it just is so heightened that it feels different because the fact that he's like, why'd you call me? And then like all that. And then he's like goes and plays a song. And then it's that. You're like, it's so romantic.
So romantic. The last 20 pages, I said this in my initial assessment, but like I was literally on the edge of my seat, like, please, I need you to get with him. Please, I need you guys to be together. Like I need Chiron to have a happy ending. Like I need this. Yeah. And so on page 75, this is just a beautiful line of action. It says, particularly the ending of this sentence is, dear God. It says, the two of them laughing there, the familiarity clear, asserting itself.
Hello.
Period. And then page 76. So you're going back and forth. So Chiron is in Atlanta, which is where he was sent after he, beat the fuck out of that kid who was his bully. And when he got out of juvie, he had to become this gangbanger, essentially, because, that's just circumstances led him to that point. That's all he could do. And so then, and he struggles with it. Like he clearly doesn't want to be living that lifestyle because he's really a softie at heart. And then he's in bed one night and he gets a call out of the blue from Kevin. And they have this beautiful back and forth. It's super sweet. And then Kevin hangs up. And this is what the action says. It says, click. Black lowering. So Black is what his name is is what Chiron's name is in the third chapter. It says, click. Black lowering his phone now, staring at the screen. The simple information there. Call duration. 5 minutes, 29 seconds, a lifetime. I have, literally, I have chills. Like, the hairs on my arm are standing up because, again, it brings you into this thing of, this longing that Chiron has and that subtle hope of, could this be what I think it is? The love of my life that I buried down and that the world has told me I can never be with, could this be? Is this him calling me to say, come down here and be with me? And just that 5 minutes, 29 seconds, when you have that hope, it is a lifetime. And I'm so in awe.
Well, and also, again, loved Kevin on the page, but the actor who played adult Kevin, first off, the flirtiest flirt.
They keep saying megawatt smile in the script, and dear God, this man's smile
delivered on it.
Question for you about adult Kevin: do you think, because this is never told in the script or in the movie, do you think Kevin has accepted that he's gay and is in his own way out?
Okay, so I've thought about it a little bit. Part of me was like, is he bisexual? The only reason I wondered that, but I feel like that's probably not the takeaway, is because I think my brain was going to when he says to Chiron in high school that he was got caught fucking this girl.
Yeah.
He does it in a way that's not bragging. It's literally I'm almost got.
He probably is bi.
That. To me, he felt like one of those people where it's his sexuality just is. He didn't strike me as a person who
he never had to fully accept it. He just always did.
And I feel like that's how it was played, because then the fact that, he said him and Samantha had the baby, but they're not together. And you're that could be because he's gay or because he said we were too young.
Yeah.
And we didn't, he just felt like one of those characters where it was he seemed someone who was just I just am. I just am. And so then if I put a label on it, my brain was he must just be bisexual, because he seemed earnest in both. Mm-hmm. And you never ever pick up on repression from him.
No.
Not even as a child. Nothing. Ever. That I just pictured him. I didn't picture him as fully out. I just pictured him as I just am who I am. Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. But what about you?
I love that. I do think your take is probably it. I'm still kind of conflicted, but I do think after watching the movie, I was I think the indication here, because he's so comfortable with kind of teasing Chiron, well, you just came down here. but you were just on one and you just drove down here. And then he's like, so where are you sleeping tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing fully well what the answer is.
Yeah. Totally comfortable.
And he's so comfortable with it that I was like, I feel like there's a world in which, they didn't work out because he's gay, like him and Samantha. Initially, after I watched the movie, I thought, he's like, it's indicating that he's accepted his gayness and he's out. But actually talking about it now, I do think it's more of what you said, where he's probably bi, but also superseding that, he just accepts his sexuality where it lies and wherever it comes about.
That's what feels consistent about him throughout the whole thing, is that he just always has a strong sense of self, and you never get the impression that he has anything other than like love for himself. You don't get shame ever.
It's so beautiful.
So that's why
you're showing the polarities of queerness here. And like the two life paths, like where both of them were born into similar circumstances. We don't know what Kevin's home life was.
True.
But we can kind of infer that it was better than Chiron's.
Yeah, for sure.
But essentially, but Kevin does say he ended up going to like jail or prison. No, he went to state, probably prison or jail, and that's what changed his life around. So he was trapping at a certain point too. So we see that life circumstances did catch up to him, but instead of it making him go more inward and bearing it down, it made him force himself to be like, that's not the life I'm going to lead. That's not going to be me. And that's the energy he can give to Chiron when he comes back into his life. And that's what he wants to give him because he loves Chiron always.
I actually kind of thought it was it seemed like a very intentional choice to not, like, we pretty much get that Chiron is gay, but the label thing is kind of absent in a way that I think is really beautiful, where it's like, even with Kevin, I kind of love that they don't have him say like, yeah, man, like I'm gay. Like, it's literally because it shows it's about connection.
Yes, exactly. Instead of it being about homosexuality, which it is, it's intrinsically about that because it's gay love being explored, but it's not about that. It's about love. Well, it's about how this connection can get you through these hard times in life.
And when he looks at him towards the end and he says, "You're the only man that's ever touched me," and I haven't really touched anyone since. That's when you go like, this is like, it's heartbreaking, but you're like, oh, he like loves this person.
Ever since he saved him when they were playing ball as kids, and he was like, you gotta show them that you're
not
hard.
Soft.
That you're not this person, and that he's the only person who's ever actually seen him and treated him like a person and not like a fuck. Like, because even his mom, it's not stable there, and just.
I will say the only thing with the ending in the script, they kind of take you through like a little bit more of the fact that like they're going to connect physically.
Yeah.
They take you through it more, still in the very artistic way where they don't show a bunch of sex, but they show this moment in the bedroom that's a little bit more
in the script.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's much more, it's obvious that they're going to start fucking,
but again, presented very beautifully, very tasteful.
But they don't mince it because like we cut to the beach and we're hearing the ocean waves, but then it's saying that you hear the sounds of kissing and bodies like rubbing against each other, intermingled with the waves.
And like part of me wanted that.
Part of me wanted it too.
But I also thought
the tenderness,
the visual and the tenderness was just so gorgeous that if I had never read the script, I would have never thought twice about it. I only just had one moment of being like, I just wanted to see that for him. Like I wanted to see that moment where, because isn't it in the script, he's sitting on the bed and then he stands up to, like, it's like his way of meeting Kevin, I think. And then like whatever, but, and the look on the actor's face before he says, "You're the only man that's ever," you see the wheels. He's like practicing saying it in his head over and over again, and then he finally says it.
It's incredible. Page 80 to 81. This is when they're at the diner, when Chiron first arrives to the diner. And he didn't tell Kevin he was coming. Now, usually I give a little preamble about why I chose to take some of these out. I don't have one here because I just thought it was beautiful. But I'm going to read it because it's here. It says, a figure moving past, carrying an urn over to the old man, sets a new coffee cup down and pours a fresh cup, scoops up the old cup as he moves on. As he crosses to the girls, we see him better. It's Kevin. We watch as he speaks to them. Can't hear any of it, but from the feel of it, very jovial. Kevin is good at this work. A beat of watching Kevin here. Isolated bits of him from Black's perspective. Kevin's lips as he speaks. The hand he rests to his neck instinctively. Finished with the girls, Kevin turns back towards the counter, hands full with the spent dishes. As he approaches, he looks right at Black, right at us. Kevin moving. Be right with you, boss. Just let me get this out of the way, and moves past him. Somehow, Kevin has not noticed him. Something lodged in Black's throat. Without thinking, places his hand over there. Am I breathing? As he must be. He better be. Those dishes discarded somewhere in the back, and here comes Kevin. Am I breathing? Am I breathing? Like, I love Chiron. Like, he's so
tender.
The world wanted to break him.
Yes.
But like, he was always a soft. It's just so beautiful. And like that thrill and that kernel of excitement of just, he's allowed himself to have a little hope here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just begging the writer to not dash it against the rocks.
And yet, again, having read it, like, and then watching it, you like know what happens. But that being said, I will say the comfort I felt when watching the film, the second you see adult Kevin, you're like, oh, we're good. Like, he's so precious. He is so precious and sweet and lovely that you're like, no way is he going to fuck him over again. No way. Mm-hmm. Like, the energy of that actor and the way I couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over it.
Incredible. So I think I have two more notes on 87 than 93. 87, I said, the sexual tension on the page in this diner scene when Chiron goes to see Kevin is insane. It says, Kevin reappears, wiping soap foam from his forearms, heading back over, takes his seat again across the modest booth. So they once he realizes that it's Chiron, Kevin makes him a meal, and then they sit in this booth and they're drinking red wine. And Chiron's like, I don't drink. And he's like, I haven't seen you in a decade. You're drinking with me. And then we see Kevin like down the wine.
Or you mean Chiron down it? Yeah.
Chiron downs the wine. And he's like, well, I guess you do drink. But it's also, that is fun because it plays into the idea that he's having to, give himself a little boost. But it's, Kevin reappears, wiping soap foam from his forearms, heading back over, takes his seat again across this modest booth. Kevin's thoughts going back to this conversation. The two of them separated by this table, by only this table. It's as though they can sense this, both mulling their thoughts, fingering those water glasses. That out of context doesn't hit as hard, but like there's a few different moments in the cafe scene when he indicates like there's just this bar in between them, there's just this booth in between. Yeah. It's like they both want to pounce on each other, and it's like, and he's like here, and there's one moment where Kevin says to him, he's like, "We're here, Chiron. Like we're both here." Yeah,
when he says when he says he's gonna go make a meal, he's like,
"We're here.
Yeah,
we're really here." And it's like, my last note is 93, and I just said I'm in awe of this script. And the starts with live dialogue. It says, Kevin, where are you going to stay tonight? Nothing from Black. Nothing. No words. No gestures. Nothing rendered from him in this moment. Black should be driving. Should have his eyes on the road, paying attention to the other cars, the things past. Instead, all eyes on Kevin, staring back at the man, lost in that question, the space between its posing and this beat, the clear answer. Kevin looks away, out the window again. The earth just moved. They both felt it. Kevin, reaching for the dial, raises the volume on the sound system. A moment of this travel, purple haze, enveloping them in the unspoken pact for a beat. Then, Like, are you kidding me?
It's just...
The earth just moved. They both felt it. Because it's like, now Chiron has the solid proof that, because he's like, he just invited me back to his place, and so now he can actually be like, fuck, this is happening. Okay, like I made the right decision, and there can be a future.
It's so
perfect.
Good. It's so good. It is an absolute must read.
It's a must read. And it must see. And I think it's one of those scripts where, like, depending on where you're at in your writing journey, it's something to like look up to, in the sense that like this is a writer who is writing from such a place of knowing and control.
I wouldn't necessarily say try and
but be inspired by it.
Yes.
Be inspired by it, because you can. I think everyone's upper echelon of writing looks different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my best writing is going to come on the page different than your best writing. Like, that's the point of all of this. That being said, so again, you're never trying to replicate anyone. I certainly would not try to replicate this, but what an absolutely inspiring document to look at and go, like, you can make choices that are different than what other people are doing and have it pay off tenfold. Yeah. But it's done so consciously and thoughtfully. I had that thought so many times throughout the script, and absolutely with the film, where I'm like, this is so thoughtful. Every detail of this had a purpose. And
you truly did. Everything's so thoughtful and gentle and beautiful. Is Barry queer? Do we know?
I don't know. Let me go eagle.
It's impressive either way, but if he's not gay, I mean, dear God, this man just knows people and the human experience.
He's not.
Oh my God. Oh.
So when I look it up, it says he's a straight man who has directed and co-written the film Moonlight. So it sounds like Terrell Elvin McCraney, who wrote the play, did co-write with him.
I need to see that.
I would love to hear what their writing process is, if they like what that looks like as far as them co-writing, especially since it was adapted from a play. Like, I am so... Barry, would you like to come on and chat with us? So Daddy Do's.
Let's do it.
For me, my first daddy do is be original in your storytelling in ways that feel authentic to your story. Part of what I found to be so dynamic about this particular story is that we are zooming in on one young man's life, or at least a chunk of it, from boyhood to adulthood, and it's done in such a real way where we feel like we're witnessing all of it and totally immersing ourselves in it. But the filmmakers continue to find ways to remind you that this is a film, both with the use of chapters, changing names of each chapter, referencing Chiron's own growth and evolutions, but also using interesting sound and music choices, etc. This movie wasn't afraid to suck you into its realness while reminding you that it's a film. The impact of the combination left me in awe, and once again made me feel like I'd watched a real-life poem unfolding.
Truly.
It felt like a poem. It just did. My second is challenge yourself to find interesting ways to portray intimacy. The script is a lot more specific and detailed, and details more of the physical intimacy, where the film chose to take even more artistic choices by only showing you quick, fast shots of a hand curling into the sand in pleasure, the back of their heads, the before. The only time the film showed blatant sex was, okay, so this is kind of interesting, was Chiron's dream of Kevin having sex with a girl. That moment juxtaposed with how we see Chiron experiencing intimacy, and also the lack of it, was stark and effective. I thought it was so interesting that the only time you see true sex in the film, it's kind of like this, like, not dirty. I would never, that's not the right word, but it's like this very like...
Chiron's fantasy of Kevin. He just wants to see, like, it's the idea of him being sexual at all.
But it almost feels cheap in comparison to what we see him experiencing with Kevin himself. Mm-hmm. It's like such an animalistic act that he is seeing in his mind's eye in this dream. It's like he's talking, I mean, he's turning around and talking to Kevin while he's having sex with this woman. Yeah. It's so disconnected from, it's just a physical act that I thought that that was kind of interesting too, that like we treated like the like real connected intimacy as sacred in the film. It felt that way. Like it's almost too sacred to show. Whereas it's juxtaposed where like, no, there is a sex scene in the film, but it's just very disjointed from actual passion and connection.
Totally.
What are your daddy do's?
Daddy do number one. Daddy do indicate history in interesting ways. The writer has mastered the art of telling us the history of a character by giving us only the most pertinent information without telling us everything. Refer to my notes on pages 51 and 65 for great examples. Daddy do number two. Daddy do get creative with grammar and sentence structure to provide a more visceral reading experience. If You know your shit. He said, I've given this note before on other films, but this one in particular is the best example of it I've ever read. The writer has one of the most unique voices on the page, and it deserves to be experienced. Yeah. Get creative in your own way. This is so, I think, specific to this writer that I would not recommend trying to replicate it unless, you just got to be
hard inspire, not a replication.
Agreed. And Daddy do number 3. Daddy so leave things left unsaid when it works for your characters and story. There's a bunch of moments when one character will ask another a question and the other character won't respond. But instead of this leaving us confused, it builds dramatic tension in layers that infer more than words ever could. Study the dialogue in the screenplay.
My daddy don't think you need to show us everything or tell us everything. It's just like a flip of what you said.
Period.
The art of context clues is invaluable.
Truly.
I will say that would be another reason to read this script is the way he's chosen, as you just said, what you're sharing and what you're not is profound. It's some of the best I've ever seen.
Truly.
Because I feel like sometimes
I've never quite read a story like this.
No, and ever. I feel like there are movies that tamper with this in a way where you actually do find yourself going like, I could have used a little more information.
It's confusing.
Like where you're like, you either need a little more to care or you find yourself going, I care, but I'm so confused. I'm not confused at all. I'm not confused at all. I got exactly what I needed. And that clearly, I can't speak for Barry, but that clearly comes from refinement in drafts. Like, you don't, I'm just going to PSA this for what I tell everyone. Like, truly, 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 your first draft is not the draft that people are making the movie from. Let it suck. Let it suck. But really, like,
fix it up and rewrite.
And like,
let it suck.
Let it suck. I literally am in a phase right now where I have never enjoyed refinement the way I'm enjoying it. And it feels so gorgeous that I'm like, I could have enjoyed rewrites this much. Like when you, like, this is a whole other concept and like a whole other episode to talk about, but like the trust muscle that you can build with yourself that can make writing so much more pleasurable and not the after, not going, oh, I wrote, but like, oh, I'm writing and it feels so good.
Yeah.
Whole other thing.
Script Daddy has transformed us.
It really has.
Babies. It really has. Because we're both in rewrites right now for
and we're like giddy about it.
And it's just, it's
the best.
It's so fun and so cool.
It's the best.
I have one Daddy don't.
What's your Daddy don't?
Daddy don't go one more day without experiencing this script. And that's it.
That's it.
Fucking read this and watch this movie
read and watch it immediately. I know I'm going to watch it. I feel like it's going to be a yearly watch for me. It's going to go into one of those. I just am so moved by it. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I really haven't. It's so good.
Special movie.
Way to go, Barry. Way to go.
Way to fucking go. Everyone involved.
Everyone involved. Yeah. And truly. Yeah. Well, we did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
I love you.
I love you too.
See you next time.
On Script Daddy.
Script Daddy.
Thank you for listening to Script Daddy. Script Daddy is executive produced and hosted by Carly Casey and Colin Moretz, with additional production assistance from the incredible Scott Simmock and our amazing sound mixer, Ryan Fee. Our artwork was done by Josh Alvarado.
If you love Script Daddy as much as we do, please tell your friends. Follow us on your preferred podcast platform and give us a rating and review. It really, really helps. We love you, Script Babies. For all inquiries, please email scriptdaddypodcast@gmail.com.